Hey, friends, and maybe some strangers. My name is Kristie. This is AG Takes Over. If you are looking for American Girl doll related content, you're in the right place. I'm glad you're here today. Today's video is in response to another video that I made not too long ago. So I did a video where I looked at all of the dolls in my collection, which is about 100, and asked myself which ones were the most rare or considered the most pricey. Like, not how much I paid for them, but if I were to resell them, or if in the event of a catastrophe, like which ones would cost me the most to replace, kind of thing. And then I did the research to see how right my inclination was, and I shared the 10 most expensive from my collection. And some of the comments demonstrated maybe a misunderstanding, because people said, I'm surprised so-and-so didn't make it on that list. To which I replied, yeah, because I don't own them. So this was just about from my collection. And then a couple people mentioned, I'm surprised Sonali didn't make it on the list. Or maybe you don't have her. And I thought, well, that's a fair point. I probably have shown pictures of Sonali because we used to have a Sonali. And then I thought, because this is the way my brain works, I think it would be fun to do a video like, to all the dolls I've loved before, just sharing which dolls we don't have in our collection anymore. So all the dolls we've ever sold. And I did the math. It's about 60. So before anybody freaks out over that number, there are a lot of different reasons. Some of them were never intended to be part of our collection. Some of them were, and we changed our minds or we didn't connect with them. So I don't have pictures of all of them. Or if I do, I couldn't find pictures of all of them. But what I'm going to do is share some pictures and some stories. So, this will be a chill, chatty video. If it's not your cup of tea, move on. I've got all kinds of other videos, but I thought it would be fun to share the story of every doll that has come through this house and not ended up staying. And then at the end of the video, because I don't have pictures of all of them, I'll just give you kind of like a spreadsheet with all the totals. Like some of them, we've sold 3 of them. Many of them we've sold 2 of, and then a lot of them we've just had singles. So subscribe if you're so inclined. Give this video a thumbs up if you end up liking it. And I would love to read your comments below. I always do, and I always respond. Without further ado, here we go. One of the very first dolls that my wife got when she got back into collecting as an adult was this Mia St. Clair doll. And when I look at this doll now, I'm like, why did we re-wig her? The answer is because I knew nothing about American Girl dolls at that time, and even less about restoring their hair. I look at this doll and I'm like, we could have fixed Mia up so quickly. If I had that doll now, she'd be staying in my collection. As it was, I think that after Grace got the new wig on her, she hoped she would like her and maybe didn't as much as she thought. Maybe it was the lack of color in the lips. Maybe it's because Mia looks better with that red wig. But I wasn't even a collector at the time. I was just being bewildered by my wife's enthusiasm over this. And so she ended up selling her, I think, just after not connecting with her. But we did get a few photo shoots, and we even had a backstory in our heads where she was dating Kennedy, which is a doll that we do still have in the collection from Grace's childhood. So she got a few photo shoots. This is not in chronological order. It's roughly, but not. This doll was never intended to be part of our collection, so she didn't even get a name. The rewigged Mia was named Charlie. We thought she would be there for a while. This was Truly Me 24, and this is one of the only pictures. I have one other picture of her, but this is just showing how we got this doll in a lot that we bought for other reasons, and then saw her hair was kind of chopped all over the back. And I decided to give her curl and style it in a way that you wouldn't be able to tell there was a cut. I still disclosed it because we did sell the doll, and we didn't sell her for much, but I disclosed the haircut and I shared this picture, I believe, so people would know. There is a picture of her, which this one kind of segues. There's a picture of the JLY 24 and a picture of the JLY 4. This JLY4 was the one that I refer to if you've seen other videos that was a complete catfish experience. They said, oh, her hair's a little, dry or stiff from just, being leaned up against the back of the box. It was like a Brillo pad. I picked up one hair and lifted it, an entire chunk of matted hair came up. Like, it was an absolute mess. She had stains everywhere. She obviously needed restringing. I ended up complaining to the seller, and I had to pay the shipping, but they ended up refunding the amount of the doll, which was, it was very low to begin with because they didn't know she was a JLY4 and that there was significance in the doll collecting community about that. So she took me a while. Like, even now, she would take me a while if I had to restore that doll again. But especially being at that stage in doll collecting, it took me a while to get her to like looking good. And I was like, she looks great. She looks like a doll that people want, but I just didn't connect with her. So, yeah, I sold her. She was a bit of a markup because I sold her for like going rate. And I have no bad feelings about that. That was not like a flip situation. I thought I would keep the doll. I was very disappointed and felt catfished. And I put a lot of work and some skill into bringing her back to life. So, yeah, I was compensated for that effort. Next was that JLY4 again. We didn't take a lot of pictures of her. Most of them were actually just progress pictures of restoring her. And Kanani. This Kanani was another one that the hair was, of course, an absolute mess. And I was really proud of how much I was able to restore her. I feel like we have sold 2 Kananis, but when I went back through and counted everything, I only see one. So this might have been the only one. I've purchased multiples, but kept 2 of them. So yeah, of the 3 that I've purchased, she ironically probably has the best hair. I probably should have just kept her. But I ended up getting 2 other ones afterwards and keeping them. There's some good pictures of her hair restoration. And this was pretty early on in my collecting. So when I look at these pictures, I'm like, dang, I did a really good job. I don't even think that was like involved any flat iron. It definitely wasn't a hot water dunk. I don't think it even involved any flat iron and recurl. I think that was just brushing gently, washing, and conditioning. She's so pretty. And then another good segue, Molly. So I believe, if I remember correctly, I got her on Facebook Marketplace, and I got her at the same time as I got Lindsay. Lindsay I got because she's the 2001 Girl of the Year, and my older daughter was born in 2001. My younger daughter was born in 2019. Yes, they're 18 years apart. And we had already purchased Blair to keep for my younger one so that she would have the Girl of the Year from her birth year. And I was like, oh, my older daughter was born the year of the very first Girl of the Year. I should find one of those for her. And then both kiddos, using kiddos loosely because she was already an adult by then, both kiddos could have a Girl of the Year from their birth year. And so I went to get the Lindsay doll, and she was like $35 or something and in a horrible condition. And the person also had a Molly doll. And I was like, oh, I'll get her too. And thought that I might keep her. And if not, it would at least be, a doll that I could give some life to. And she was very faded. It's, I'm not great at color restoration, and I don't want to overdo it with these older dolls, but I did give her a little bit of color and was very pleased with how much she came back to life. And I got to practice things. I probably, by that point, was I still doing limb tightening, or had I switched to exclusively limb restringing? That's a good question, because I don't really tighten them anymore. I just restring for the most part. Anyway, didn't super connect with her. Decided I wanted to prioritize other dolls. Sold her for I don't know, $50 or $60, something very reasonable, and just a slight markup from what I paid for her. Next is Tenny, and we have sold only 2, but it would not surprise me if we've sold 3, but maybe 2. This one was bought with the intent of keeping her in our collection, and we probably did that for 3 years. So I think I have always felt more attached to her than, it's ironic because Grace bought her, but I felt more attached to her. I'm a bit of a Tenny stan, which seems ironic because, or like hypocritical because we don't have her in our collection. I'm a bit of a Tenny defender, at least. I think that she is beautiful. I think she has a gorgeous wig. I like the freckle pattern. I like the light brown eyes. I don't care at all that she has a different shaped hand. Yeah, I really like her. And the only reason she's not in our collection is because our collection is so big. This might sound mean, but she just wasn't like unique enough, which also sounds really hypocritical because we have doubles of several dolls. I don't know why. She didn't make the cut. We have a large collection, and she was one that Grace and I both agreed on giving up to kind of make space for other dolls. I would have picked other dolls first, but they weren't dolls that Grace would agree on. So with a shared collection, you got to agree. But we do have a lot of pictures of her because I really like her, and we had her in our collection for several years. So yeah. And then this one, Truly Me 33, we, as of the time of filming this, we've sold 2 of them. Both times we've gotten this doll, it's just been a doll that came in a lot that we bought for other reasons. So I'm pretty sure all of you know what I'm referring to when I say that, but just in case somebody's watching for the very first time, like imagine you go on Facebook Marketplace and somebody is selling like 2 dolls and a bunch of outfits or something like that, but they won't separate it and they're selling it as a bundle. So you buy the thing that, you buy the whole lot and you take out the things that you want and you sell the other things, in our case, after you've cleaned them up and made them much nicer, and, recoup some of the cost of what you spent. So we did that with her. Mostly with dolls like that, it's the hair. It's the hair and some stains, and then they're good to go. So I'm sure we sold her for a nominal amount because she's not a particularly sought after doll. And it was just a way to get the other things in the lot and not have this doll take up space. She's cute. She just was never intended to be part of our collection. And then here's Frankie. This was probably the first, no, it was the first custom that I ever did because backstory, we went to somebody's house to get a Leah doll. I think they had the Leah doll and this doll for $25 each. And the Leah doll ended up becoming the one that we kept out of all the Leah dolls that have come and gone in this house. That's the one that we kept. But we got there, we had driven like 45 minutes, and this guy comes out to the car to bring us the dolls, and he just reeked of cigarette smoke. And instantly I was like, no, we already drove 45 minutes and the dolls are only like $25. Ugh. Maybe even one of them he gave us for 20. I don't know, but it smelled so bad. So her wig came off. Fast forward through lots and lots and lots of methods of like getting all of the stink out of her, because I didn't know if I wanted to keep her or sell her, but I definitely knew that I didn't want me or anybody else to have a doll that smelled like smoke. So took care of that, which took the most time. Changed her wig. It's actually a Marie Grace wig, and I curled it, which I think is really cute and unique. And then she has maybe some old Kirsten eyes. Anyway, they're PC. They were soft lash, and we kind of kicked ourselves afterwards. Like, we should have given that doll different eyes, but some softy lash eyes, and she turned out really cute. I don't remember the name of the person we sold her to, but it was in a Facebook group that we're active in, and I remember how excited the person was. So that's a good memory. And for people wondering, like, I know some people are like, go get it, get your money. And other people are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you would even charge anything for anything. You're such a horrible, selfish person. But for those of you who are curious, we bought that doll for like $25. The wig came off of a doll that we were already replacing, so it wasn't like an expense. But for the effort of a wig swap and eyes and everything, we probably sold the doll for like $65. $40 for the time I put in, more than fair. Here is the first. I don't know if this is the first. We've sold 2 Leahs. So we kept the very first one that we bought. She ended up getting a head replacement at the doll hospital, but we kept the very first one we bought. And so anytime we got another one, we didn't need to keep it because we already had the Leah that we wanted. This one, the Leah, might have been one we got in a lot. There was also a period where we sold dolls for 2 friends, like 2 friends whose kids had outgrown them, and they knew that we were into dolls, and they were like, hey, would you be able to help me with this? And they probably just like, I don't know, gave us like 10% or something, or just a thank you. So I know that the Truly Me 28 on this page was one of those that we just helped for somebody or sold to help somebody. And Leah may or may not have been. She either came from a lot or we were selling for a friend whose kiddo had outgrown their dolls. So in either case, neither was ever expected to be part of our collection. The Josefina in the middle, though, is my wife's childhood doll, and she's not going anywhere. Then we've sold, I don't even remember this, but I looked it up because we keep track of everything. We've sold 3 Caroline dolls. I know at least one of them was a friend's doll. And it was this one. And they had done like a Downy dunk, and it was an absolute mess. And this is the extent to which I was able to restore her hair. My wife and I both worked on this one. It does not look like her original hair, but I mean, look at what we started with. I don't know if the second and third ones, I feel like we had a Caroline that was, because we've got enough pictures. We had a Caroline that we thought we were going to keep for a while. And I will show you a picture of her later on in this video. And then at that point, I will explain why we didn't end up keeping her. All right. Next, in this video anyway, was a Just Mold CYO. We got this in a lot, actually, with that gymnastics set and some other things. And I would have kept this doll, except for the eyes. So the eyes are the only reason that doll's not still in our collection. And hopefully you know what I mean when I say the eyes and show you this picture. I'll zoom in if I need to, but it was the size and the placement of the eye sockets, because even if I heated up the head and manipulated the eyes, it wasn't going to fix the issue for me, and it was going to bother me and bother Grace, so we sold her. Rebecca is another doll that we have sold 3 of. I don't even know how that's possible. I don't even remember getting 3 Rebecca dolls. So we have a Rebecca. She was one of the first dolls that my wife bought for herself as an adult collector. Grace and Rebecca were 2 of the first that I remember. So anytime a Rebecca has come into our house after that, we're like, and out she goes, because we don't need another one. We have the Rebecca that my wife loves. So, all of them have come in lots, I'm sure, because I don't think that we went out of our way to buy one knowing we didn't plan on keeping it, and knowing she's not a doll that goes for a ton. This one in particular, though, I do remember the story. I reached out to somebody on Facebook Marketplace about some off-brand clothes, doll clothes. It was like an $8 purchase. I remember, because it was like a $5 item and a $3 item. And I went to the person's house and they said, I think I texted I'm here. And they said, okay, I also have a doll. She's kind of a wreck. She's basically landfill bound, but if you want her, I'll just give her to you. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. And then it was this doll. I was like, okay, it's a Rebecca doll. She just gave her to me. That is I'm pretty sure the only time in my life it is the only time in my life that a stranger is just given me a doll. So yeah, this was such an easy fix. See this picture or this set of pictures? It's after a couple of hours. So that one stain, I think I ended up getting it out before I sold the doll, the one in the bottom left on her leg. But this is after no stain treatment, just cleaning her up, right? No hot water dunk, no flat iron and then recurl. Like, no, this was just, this girl needed a little TLC and she was good to go. And the lady said landfill bound. How very dare she? All right, then Isabel. So we have sold 2 Isabels. What happened was early on in Grace's return to American Girl collecting, she got an Isabel for herself. And then at some point, I think we got one in a lot. And by the way, we really haven't bought lots in a while. I feel like the resale market has been down, and I wasn't buying to resell for the most part. Like occasionally, but for the most part, we were buying lots where we wanted something and then we could trust that we would be able to sell it the other stuff quickly enough to recoup our money, maybe make some money, but also to get it out of the house. Now, when I see things in a lot that I want, I'm like, do I want it enough to have that stuff hanging around my house forever? Because it might, because the resale market has been slower. So yeah, I've been very selective. Like, it would have to be a holy grail piece for me to buy a whole lot and risk being stuck with it in my home for a while. Anyway, so we had our Isabel, and then we got another one in a lot, sold it because we already had our Isabel. And this doll is kind of like Tenny. She stayed in our collection for several years, and we sold her either at the end of 2022 or sometime in 2023. I can't really remember. But of the 60 dolls that we've sold, I might feel the most regret about this one. Like, I which is not even to say a lot of regret, but I usually don't feel any regret. I think she's so precious. She's one of those like out of sight, out of mind for me. So when I'm not looking at these pictures, I don't think about it. I'm like, oh, Isabel, yeah, she's cute. And then I look at these pictures, I'm like, did we make a mistake? And it's okay. If we did, we'll get another Isabel. I wasn't attached to like that particular one, although she was particularly cute. It was more like, oh, did we sell a cute doll? Am I going to kick myself for that? So if we did, we'll write that situation later. All right, here's the Caroline that we bought. I don't remember where or when, but for ourselves, for our collection. And I love, love, love the seafoam green Caroline eyes. But this particular doll, like, I'm probably showing you 2 of maybe 10 pictures that we have where she doesn't look dead, like vacant expression. I don't know, like her soul has been sucked from her body, kind of vacant eyes. We got pictures, like I'm showing you these because they don't look that way, but it would be like 9 out of 10 pictures she would look that way. So she was just really hard to photograph. And anytime we'd look at her, she looked a little like, I don't know, just an empty look in her eyes. And because of that, if you're not a doll person, it sounds weird to be like, I just didn't bond with this doll. Because when I wasn't a doll person, I thought y'all sounded crazy. But now I'm a doll person and I say it. So yeah, we just didn't bond with this doll. And I think it had to do with her eyes. So we sold her. Mary Ellen and Kit. We currently have no Mary Ellens in our collection. We have had 2. Kind of ironic. She's like Courtney for us. Love her collection. Have most of the collection. Don't dislike the doll, but don't really feel like she like has earned a place in our collection. If that doesn't sound horrible, whatever. If it does, it's okay. Both of these dolls came to us in lots. Mary Ellen probably stayed less time. If she stayed any amount of time, it was because I was like just kind of unmotivated to sell, or because she is a bit more of a, the dime a dozen dolls that there are a lot of her in the market. And so she's not like a quick one to sell often. But yeah, so Mary Ellen came and went. Kit came in a lot that we bought for other reasons. And we expected to sell her immediately. And then we were like, oh my gosh, kid's actually really cute. And this kid's really cute. I mean, this picture doesn't show up, but here, let me move forward to another one. Look at that. Kid's really cute. We planned on selling her from the get-go, and she's kind of the opposite of Isabel, where we planned on keeping her and later sold her. We planned on selling this doll, and then she kind of earned her place in the collection for a while, like for a few years. And then finally we were like, okay, she was never really intended to stay, and space is a finite commodity, so we're going to go ahead and sell her. But we did harvest her eyes. We did that with the Tenny too, since Kit's blue eyes are not as common and Tenny's light brown eyes are not as common. And we had just regular brown eyes in excess. With both of those dolls, we switched their eyes out to brown and, of course, disclosed the eye swap. The person who got Kit, if I remember correctly, did so through Instagram directly from my wife and was like, I love the brown eyes on her. I'm so excited. She is such an adorable addition to my collection. So yay. Love it when that works out. I just looked at the time. Holy crap, this is going to be a long video. Watch it in parts if you need to. I'm just going to do it all in one fell swoop. And if you're wanting to hear the stories, you'll stay listening. And if not, that's okay. All right. Next is a bunch of Kirstens. So we've sold 3 of them. And we're now through all the dolls that we've sold 3 of, Caroline, Kirsten, and Rebecca. So this Kirsten, I did not realize we were getting a white body doll. I bought a doll lot that had like 4 dolls and a bunch of off-brand stuff. And just it was so much fun. It was one of the first lots that I got, and went through and picked out all the things that we wanted, some things to hold back for our kiddo, some things for ourselves. And I think we kept 2 of the dolls maybe, and then sold the other 2. And this Kirsten, again, total surprise that she was white body. Kept her for a while. She celebrated Pride with Logan. That's so cute. And here she is in one of her outfits. Her hair, I restored it the best I can, but if you look back at that wig, it just was really thin. Right? Without adding wefts, there's only so much you can do. And then here are 2 other Kirstens. This one is freaking adorable. And then this one that still had her factory braids in. And at some point, we had all 3 of these in our in our possession. And I looked at them and thought, wow, the one is special because she's white body. The other 2, I think, are just adorable, and they all look so different. Like their skin tone, their face shape, everything looks so different about them. Do I keep any of them? 1, 2, all, none? And maybe I would have felt differently if I had already read her books. I've since read her books, but I'm not a Kirsten stan. So all 3 of them have gone on to people who are much more excited and much more grateful to have her in their collection than we would be. So this was just a matter of her going to where she would be loved more. And all of them were like just random acquisitions. Addie, this is kind of a surprise that we don't have her anymore, because my wife scoured the internet for a PC Addie that she liked, and this is the one that she picked, and she really liked her. She was a chunky girl for compared to the size of the modern doll clothes that AG puts out. And most of our historical dolls spend most of their time in modern clothing. So she was always a bit harder to dress, because we'd go to put her in modern clothing and go, okay, well, we're kind of limited. This and this and this and this and this are not going to fit her, or not very well. And then the 35th anniversary dolls were re-released, and my wife got a 35th anniversary Addie and had 2 of them for, I don't know, a good year anyway. And then just came to the conclusion that she She really appreciated that the 35th anniversary had hair in perfect condition, and that she still had the lined eyebrows. She's absolutely stunning, and she could fit in whatever clothes we put on her. So she made the decision to sell this Addie. But lots of good memories with her. She's a very pretty doll. I did a lot of hairstyles on her and thoroughly enjoyed her. And then Ivy, we have sold 2 Ivies. Third time was the charm. So I think the 2 of them we just had gotten maybe in lots, or maybe we bought them. I kind of feel like with Ivy, I was trying to get one that I really liked. And so I would get one and go, I don't know, something about the eyes. Everybody loves this doll and I'm just not feeling it. I don't know if her eyes are kind of off or what it is. And I don't feel comfortable messing with the older Jess Mold eyes. So, one would go, I think at one point we had like overlap, like we brought another one in and then picked the best of those 2 and then sold one. So we only had one in. And then I brought a third one in and picked the best of those 2. And so it took some tries for me to get the Ivy that we have now. And she was the kind of doll that like we could sell her for what we paid for her, so we weren't out. It wasn't about profit, but it was also we weren't losing any money. And I'll be honest, I still am not like the biggest fan of our Ivy. I think it's just because we have so many other older Jess Molds that I like a little bit more. I've even considered customizing the Ivy that we have. And I might put a picture if I can find it, but there is a picture from Instagram that I saved that's like a freckled, redheaded Ivy or Jess Mold CYO that I really like. And I was like, well, I don't trust doing a CYO of a Jess Mold from AG these days because it's definitely going to be the newer face mold, the newer Jess Mold, and I'm not interested in that. But I could do Ivy and turn her into that. Okay, maybe. So that may or may not happen in 2024. We shall see. Next up is Sonali, which is kind of why I ended up doing this video because somebody was like, oh, I'm surprised Sonali wasn't in that video that I referred to earlier. So I got this Sonali on eBay. Not cheap, not horribly expensive. I think maybe $225 after taxes and shipping and everything. So not horribly expensive compared to what a really good condition in meat outfit Sonali would go for, but definitely one of the most expensive dolls I've ever purchased. And I thought I could zhuzh up her hair enough, and I just really couldn't. Like, this is her with her the hair that came to us after I fixed it up. So we sent her into the doll hospital, and then she came back with this hair. And isn't that so much nicer? Like, so much nicer. She actually went to the hospital twice. Once because we sent her because she needed a new head. And then a few months after that, we put that Diwali outfit on her for a couple of weeks and she got stained. We had to send her back. We never connected with this doll. Like, I didn't. My wife didn't. I know she's a Holy Grail doll. I think it was the lack of color in her lips and cheeks. And maybe in these pictures, that's not so noticeable. But in person, she just really, okay, in this one, you can kind of see there's just no color. And I have a lot of older Sonali mold, like gorgeous dolls in my collection. So the fact that she is like a Holy Grail doll is not enough for me to keep a doll in my collection. Especially when like somebody else will enjoy her and appreciate her. We might have lost money on this one because, or like barely broke it even because of the hospital trip to get her a new head. That was an extra expense. So the person that got her from us, I met up with in person at a restaurant, and she was like, I didn't ever think I would have this doll in my collection. She's my Holy Grail doll. She's absolutely beautiful. I'm so thrilled. So that's great. That's great. We basically got a free rental Since we kind of broke even, we got a free rental of a Sonali for a few years, and we got some good pictures, but we just never, um, I will not look at her the way that I look at like my 11. My 11 was a holy grail doll that every time I look at her, I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh, yes. And the person who has Sonali now feels that way about her. And that is what Sonali deserves. So it all worked out. Funny story about number 47. My wife accidentally bought 2 of them. Yes, this might have been at a time where she was buying a little too fast and furious. She got one on eBay, but had also bid on one on Goodwill, Shop Goodwill, and won the auction. So she ended up with 2 of them. She wanted one to customize. So we sold one and kept the other, and that became our Zariah, if you're familiar with our collection. But yeah, we have a 47 that's customized. She always has different looks because she doesn't have her wig glued down, but that's the story behind 47. Nanea, we have purchased 3, sold 2. No, purchased 3, sold 1? Yes. Okay. I feel like we've sold 2, but that would mean we'd purchased 4, and maybe that's not true. We've purchased 3, sold 1. This one, this is the one that we ended up selling. And I know she doesn't have a head there. I'll show you her head in a second. But I just had to show you her butt. She came with this Ms. Ball written on her butt in Sharpie. And it took me forever. Like you can still see it on the left. I think I got it out a little bit more before I sold her, but this was a progress picture. It took forever to get that out. So, yeah, I was happy when she was in good enough condition that I felt like I could list her. She might have been sold with a different head than she came with. I don't even know. It was crazy because at some point we probably had both or 3 of the Naneas in our home and had to pick which one we were keeping and which ones we ended up keeping. So I have a Nanea as is and a customized Nanea whose name is Miley. And then one of them got sold. So that's the Nanea story. Next up, JLY or Truly Me or whatever you want to call her, number 21. I think this doll's cute. I know a lot of you think she's cute. She had the little ringlets. I mean, as you can see, her hair was kind of trashed, but the price was reasonable. And I bought her locally through Facebook Marketplace. Fixed her up, kept her for a while, and then I'm going to show you why I ended up selling her. I just didn't connect with her. And I was like, why? Why? It's these parts right here, right? Like above her eyes, almost at the like inner corner of her eyebrows. I don't see this on every classic mold. Like our Isabel did not have this, but sometimes the mold, like it has enough indentation or something that creates these shadows. And when I see that, I go, they look mean. And then I can't unsee it. And every time I look at the doll, she looks like she's scowling at me. Like she's going to, I don't know, like she looks kind of like she's going to curse me. And I don't know, it might be silly, but when I see it, I can't unsee it. And so I saw it on her and I was like, okay, she can go. She was in our home for like maybe even, I don't know, a year, not years and years, because as soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, she can go. And she was by that point fixed up and, she didn't go for like a ton of money, but she went for a decent price. So yeah, cute while she lasted. And then for some reason, my eyes had to go and see that. So here she is with Jess. So Jess is another story to share. Jess, I got on a Facebook buy sell trade group, an American Girl doll group, and the person did not disclose, and it wasn't really visible in pictures, that she had a highlighter mark on her face. Of all the stains, that is not the one I want to deal with, like a highlighter mark. And it was right on her cheek. So it was like a yellow, if I remember correctly, it was like a yellow highlighter mark right on her cheek, partially where the coloring was starting. And I was kind of frustrated that they didn't disclose that. And then also, she has that jagged, like the zigzag hair part, or if you don't, now you do. Somebody had gotten her and I think thought that was wrong. And so they took it upon themselves to like make a straight part, which means that one of the wefts was pushed the wrong way and it was left that way for a long time. And it really did not ever want to lay flat again. Like, even though I found the factory part and I tried to get it to lay down again, it just wouldn't. And so I ended up not feeling as strongly about her and connecting with her as much as I'd hoped I would. So, and also we have a lot of other cute Jess molds. I think Jess is a gorgeous doll. Depending on the future of my collection, there could be another Jess in our future. She's not not anytime soon, but like if certain dolls went or something, like I could see her coming back to our collection, but this one wasn't it for me. So sold her. Here's another Molly. We sold 2 of them. I don't remember the story of her. Like, I think that I must have gotten her in a lot because I didn't go out of my way to buy her. I do remember who I sold her to. It was a grandmother, and she came over and she was getting her first American Girl doll for her daughter. And I think it was before Christmas. And I sat out on the porch and went over, like I printed out this doll care sheet that I created and went over all these different things with her. And like, I remember having this conversation and wanting her to feel educated and empowered to help her granddaughter take good care of the doll and know what to do if they, encountered XYZ problems. So yeah, that was a memorable experience. It was a very sweet lady. And I just remember being excited about her granddaughter getting this Molly. Here is the second JLY4 that we ever got. This one I got with the intention of, okay, tried it before, got a number 4, didn't connect with her. Let's try this one. And she was very reasonably priced. Somebody didn't know what they had. And she was not too far from where my daughter was living for college. And I said, hey, Annika, can you go over to this lady or meet this lady at whatever parking lot and get this doll for me, and then I'll Venmo you. So she did, and the doll cleaned up pretty well. Like, here you can see I restrung her, cleaned her up, did her hair. She had some flyaways, but like other than that, I did give her a little color restoration, as you can see. Very, very light on the lips because I wanted her to look like she is supposed to look. Like though the dolls from that era do not have the lipstick looking amount of pigment that the dolls do now. The thing about this doll, and you can't see it in all of these pictures, probably because of a filter or just good luck and lighting, is that she in person read gray. And you could see it most times that we would put her next to a bunch of other dolls. She just looked like, okay, and then there's the ghost we brought along with us. And so we were going to send her to the doll hospital, and then somebody posted, hey, good news. The doll hospital found some PC number 4 heads. Like, they just found a box of them or something. So if you send your doll in now, you'll get a PC replacement head. And my wife and I actually wanted the AG replacement head. So we waited. And then we called in and we said, do you have the doll heads? And they checked and we said, is it the AG heads? And they said, yes. And we're like, cool. So we sent her in. We're going to get all new limbs, all new head, have a brand new number 4. Then they sent us back our doll and said, so about that, we didn't have any. And I don't know if they just had other people send them in. I mean, we sent them in immediately after they confirmed, but I don't know what happened there, but it was a miscommunication and it was very disappointing. And then I was like, well, then let's just sell her. Because somebody is going to appreciate that somebody's going to appreciate her. And I was not going to be able to get past the gray skin. So we sold her. We ended up, if you know my collection, with one that we're much happier with, that was played with by one person and very gently, and she's in fantastic condition. So yeah, she's probably the one. She's the one that we're going to keep. All right, another Mary Ellen. I mentioned her already. I don't remember the backstory of where we got the Mary Ellens, but we've just occasionally, we've gotten 2 of them and both times sold them because I don't think she's a doll that will ever be in our collection. Again, don't dislike her, just doesn't bring something needed to our large collection. McKenna. McKenna's a doll we've sold 2 of. I remember the first one was one that my wife got like early on in a lot. We picked her up in a hospital parking lot from a nurse. And I don't remember how we got the second one, but this is the second one. I would keep McKenna if we had the space in our collection for her. I didn't love the no part, and then I realized all you have to do is part it. Like, it's very easy to make a little part at just the front, and you can do so many diverse things with her hair. And she's just a really sweet looking doll, like surprisingly. She's very basic, nothing particularly unique, but she's really pretty. Just again, if I had 10 dolls, it would be a different story, but there is no room at the inn for McKenna. And we have know somebody locally who wanted her for their daughters or for her daughters. So we know that she went to a good home. This classic mold CYO was one of the dolls that we really did buy. Like, we just bought this doll and we bought her knowing that we would probably just turn around and sell her in a few months. So my neighborhood was having a community yard sale, and we went over to somebody's house and they had a giant homemade American Girl dollhouse and a bunch of outfits and just a bunch of things. And we kind of got a bundle price. They knocked off like $30 off of the price of what we were getting. And I think that this doll, we got 1 or 2 dolls from there, but I know we got her from the yard sale. She was very reasonably priced, something like $50. I don't know. And that bang style and that hair color were already retired by then. So even though I would not pick a classic mold CYO probably, my wife and I kind of looked at each other and went, what the hell? We'll take some pictures. We'll enjoy her. She won't be a permanent fixture in our home, but she'll spend some time here and then we'll sell her. And probably we will sell her at a markup because she was in amazing condition. She just needed some, TLC for her hair and because both of those features were retired. So even though she was a classic mold, and those don't tend to go for, or I don't know, tend to be as like coveted, we knew that she would sell fast enough, and she did. So we had fun with her. She was appreciated and enjoyed, but she was never intended to be a permanent fixture in our collection. And by the way, I'm almost done. I think so, yeah. So another Tenny. Pretty sure we harvested her eyes as well because those eyes are really pretty and unique. So we took her eyes out and gave her brown ones. And then this 58, you've probably heard this story before if you are familiar with my channel. We already had a 58. I separated every one of her curls. I divided them into 2. So she has like very full, unique hair that like no doll wig that AG puts out has. And I adore her. And my wife was like, I really like her. Her name is Ty. I really like Ty. But sometimes I see pictures of people's intact 58s where the wig hasn't been, changed at all. And I also really like her. And we attended the online benefit sale in 2022. And I said, do you want another one? Because they've got her on here. She's really cheap. I'm just going to get you another one. And then we got her and we kept her for a while, but never connected with her as much as the original 58 that we got. Meanwhile, we knew that our friend was wanting to get a 58. And so we talked about it and said, why don't we just offer her, why don't we just offer London to her? Her name is not London anymore, but we were like, why don't we just offer her that doll? She'll go to a really good home and we're just not fully appreciating her. So that's what we did. And then this 89 was with us very briefly. She came in a lot. I'm not like, if I were going to get any of these like 89, 90, whatever, that era of nothing but the dyed hair dolls, or like the bright haired dolls. This one would have been the one I would have been most likely to keep, but I'm really not a fan of the hair personally. I like that this one at least has brown mixed in with it, but yeah, I knew we weren't going to keep her. We just got her in a lot, and so literally took like two pictures, I don't know, a few pictures and sold her because we wanted the other things and we didn't plan on keeping her. She stayed for a few months, but that was more because we just weren't like in a hurry to do any selling. Yeah, it had nothing to do with being attached to her. She's pretty. She's really pretty. Lip color was great. Her eyes were nice. She just wasn't meant to stay in our collection. And then 33, I had already mentioned, this is the second one that we'd gotten and took a few pictures. She came in a lot. She was never meant to stay with us. All right. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit, like wrap up. Holy crap, this video is long. And show you like the more complete list while I do so. So here is like 60-ish dolls that we've sold. And hopefully if you watch this, you can either relate because maybe you're like me, or you can have an appreciation and a better understanding of people that you see selling dolls aren't always doing it because they are like out of control purchasers or because they are looking to make a fast buck or, it just may not be for the reasons that you assume. In our case, it's for a lot of different reasons, and it's fine, right? We're very happy with the dolls that we have. There are a few of them that I'm not particularly attached to, and if Grace ever grows not attached to them, they may go as well. Finite space equals making those decisions sometimes, but also just sometimes not connecting with a doll that in the way that you thought you would leads to those decisions. So anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hopefully you'll be nice and respectful, and I will be as well. Thank you so much. I will be back with another video in less than a week. If you're subscribed and you tap the notification bell, then you will get the heads up when that video is coming out, and I will see you soon.